Ben Vitale,
Present.
Tom Winslow,
Present.
Robert Shea,
Present.
Aileen McNabb-Coleman,
Present.
Hans Petcher,
Here.
Mark Strong,
Here.
Heidi Nightingale,
Present.
Elaine Daly,
Here.
Amy Sargent,
Here.
Ryan Muldrow,
Here.
Jonathan Tanner.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, please stay standing. Sound very. Thank you. You may be seated. This evening, I'd like to start our evening by introducing and welcoming Greg Olson, New York State Office of Aging, who's the director. And Brenda's going to come up and introduce him. Get right to business. Sound like you.
All right. So it's my pleasure tonight to introduce Greg Olson from the New York State Office for the Aging. He and Becky Creedy, who's also here with us. Becky is the Executive Director of the Association on Aging. And they today did a presentation for about 40 individuals out at the Bluefield Manor for a couple hours. They had a great conversation, lots of great information was shared. And Greg agreed to come tonight, stay tonight to be able to talk with you about aging services in New York State and all the great things, the innovations, what's coming down the pike, changes. Greg's a wealth of information, and so I appreciate you all giving him the opportunity to speak.
Thanks, Brendan. You guys can all hear me, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, first of all, it's great to be back in Cayuga County. I've been here many, many times, and I appreciate the really warm welcome from all of you. Again, my name is Greg Olson. I've been in this position leading the state for 17 years. I've been with the office for 20, but I've been working with older adults in New York State for 35 years. I'm a geriatrically trained social worker. And Brenda never says this publicly, but her and I went to college together. So I've known Brenda. I hope you're as proud of Brenda as I am. We have 59 Brendas around the state, and she is one of the best. And her staff, the volunteers, all the folks that she works with in the community to provide services to your constituents, she does a fantastic job. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You got a long agenda, so I'm not going to talk at you all night long. I'll keep it fairly short. But, you know, what I was asked to talk about, and again, I appreciate the opportunity to do this. I've spoken to a lot of legislative boards, you know, and I know you guys care about your older population here. I'm going to talk a little bit about it differently because that's the way that we do it. So on the agenda, it says talk about the future of aging in New York State. And it's great that the sheriff is here because we do a lot of work with law enforcement on elder abuse and scam prevention. And public health is here, federally qualified health centers. And, you know, we think of the Office for Aging as, for those who may not know what it does, you know about meals, but you don't know, a lot of people don't know about how complex the interactions between other systems are. So for example, we serve 42,000 veterans in the state of New York through our network, because 70% of the state's veterans, 440,000 are over the age of 60. We serve 33,000 individuals with a diagnosed mental health issue, substance abuse issues, which is why I love the way that New York structured the aging network, being county-based, because you have public health, you have transportation, substance abuse, mental health, housing, et cetera. And that's really what we're all about is systems, cross systems integration, because we're all serving the same people. And the more that we can connect the dots and work better together to do that, the better. The future of aging, and I'm not saying this because I'm biased, even though I am biased, are the offices for the aged. We spend 97% of all of our funds, our public funds, federal, state, and local, on the most expensive areas to provide care. Hospitals, nursing homes, et cetera, and 3% in the community. What we're seeing not only in New York State, in your county, in every county and across the country, are Medicaid dollars that are shrinking, nursing home beds that are being lost, But we don't have, as the population is growing, we need to build the infrastructure that allows Brenda to do her job. And that is every single one of us wants to stay in our homes and communities for as long as possible. And I know that everybody here at some point was 20 years. You know that for a fact. Everybody was, right? And what we were taught, both directly and indirectly, about older people is they're expensive, they're takers, and they don't contribute. And that is not true at all. And now that we are older, some of the, I'm almost 60, some of you are older than me. What we were taught is just frankly not true. And so I think what I want to walk you through is kind of a quick overview of what it is that we're working on. And the number one thing is to how I can provide you guys with more money so that you can provide that for Brenda and her team so that they can help your constituents stay at home, get to a doctor's appointment, whatever it is that they might want to do. So does the clicker work? Yes, it does. So you all have the slide deck. I know you got it earlier today or you got it yesterday. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but why I put down what characterizes older adults is to set the stage that what we've been taught over the course of our lifetimes is false. There's not one broad brush that you can paint an older person with, but we do. And I said what that was. We don't say all children have autism. That would be ridiculous. We don't say all middle-aged individuals are X, Y, Z, you fill in the blank, but we do that with older people. We have this perception, a negative perception of who older people are. I'm going to spend a little time on the economic impact because I want to show you what your economy would look like without the older adults that live here, because we wouldn't have a local, regional, state, or national economy without older adults. And that's the value that I'm trying to talk about. So again, you can, if you're interested, you can do a deeper dive on this. The four primary groups of customers that we serve, and when I say we, it's going to be the Brendas all over the state of New York, are those who are healthy, possibly well, that might need some information. We want to keep people as healthy for as long as possible so they don't devolve and wind up, spending down to Medicaid, which costs you guys money, and not being able to recover from something that's recoverable. People that need assistance with benefits. There are 3 benefits in the state of New York that older adults are eligible for that will put $11,000 immediately back in their pockets. SNAP, which helps your farmers, and obviously good nutrition. The Medicare Savings Program, which pays for co-pays, premium, and deductibles under Medicare, and the Home Energy Assistance Program. That's just 3. The governor has charged me in the budget this year with looking at every single benefit and service that every single state and local agency provides to develop a one-stop shop so that in this affordability time that we're in right now, we can help people get the benefits that they deserve if they want them. We serve a lot of individuals with chronic conditions. Chronic conditions cost $800 billion a year. Many are manageable, many are preventable. Our biggest book of business, meaning these are individuals who are at immediate risk of Medicaid spend down. And Brenda and her team does this with home care agencies. You guys were one of the forward-looking counties that actually directly hires your own aides. 17 counties now do that. And that's really important because we've had a home care crisis shortage literally since 1987 when it was on the front page of the New York Times. And it's not getting any better sooner. And this keeps nursing home eligible people out of a nursing home and in their own homes. An average nursing home cost in New York is $175,000. Brenda can keep a nursing home eligible person at home for under $10,000 at no cost to them. And those are the funds that we provide, federal, state, and that you contribute as well. And that's why the partnership is so important. The federal partnership with us at the state, partnership with the county, because all 3 of us provide the funds for Brenda's budget. And then you'd be surprised through voluntary contributions that older adults provide themselves for home delivered meals in a congregate center, and transportation. We're generating another $18 million that goes back into providing more services. And then there are 4.1 million people in the state of New York that are caring for somebody else. You were talking about caring for your grandkids this morning. There are 300,000 grandparents who are the primary caregivers of their grandchildren. But people are taking care of their parents, their spouses, their aunts, their uncles, kids with disabilities. If we paid for that at the market rate, there would be an additional $59 billion. When we go out to somebody's home, and I started as a case manager in 1992 in Rochester. This is the type of information that we're talking with an older adult and if they have a family member about. Because we don't want to just, if somebody calls and says, I need a home delivered meal because I'm being discharged from a hospital on Friday afternoon, the home delivered meal usually is the gateway service, but there's usually much more. So we're looking at a lot of different things and working with the individual to develop a comprehensive care plan so that they can stay at home. These are the services that you provide in this community and every single community across the state of New York. Transportation has been one of the biggest needs for 60 years. 95% of the state of New York has no public transportation, and public transportation assumes you can use it, you can afford it, and you know how to use it. So we're doing a lot to try to provide additional resources and other options for transportation, because if you can't get to a doctor or dialysis or to the grocery store or what have you, you're lonely, you're isolated, and you go downhill very, very quickly. But these are all the services that are standardized, are provided in this community, again, from Suffolk County up to Niagara Falls, Plattsburgh down to Jamestown. But I want to talk again a little bit about the value, because again, I grew up in the same culture you did. I know how older adults are portrayed here. And so do you. Now that we are older, are you buying it? And I'm not. But let's take a look at the population. 36% of the state population is 50 or over. GDP, or the goods and services we provide, 43% of the state's GDP is the older population at $719 billion. Our spending supports 6 million jobs. And just think about your local community. It's all part of this. Those that are still working are generating $482 billion in wages and salary. Older adults pay 40% state and local taxes, $72 billion a year. Come on, Mr. Cook. There we go. Let's keep going. 80% of New York State retirement system that many of us are in stays here, 10.6 billion. Social Security is actually up to 90 billion. Non-state pensions, another 31 billion. There are 1 million volunteers, older adult volunteers, providing almost 500 million hours of service at an economic value of 13.2 billion. They're holding up 33,500 not-for-profits by what they're doing. Your dad is a home delivered meal volunteer, right? I mean, we would not have a network. Our health insurance information counseling assistance program, transportation, meal preparation, your hospitals, your voting booths. I mean, you name it. When you go in somewhere, a lot of people look like people in this room, and that's true. I'm going to take New York City out of this. 72% of older adults own their own homes and have no mortgage. So they're sitting on trillions of dollars of home equity that could actually be tapped to help them stay in their home. You can use your own home equity to purchase the services or privately to stay in your home. And then I just mentioned caregivers. But let's take a look at your county. This is not unique. So we have 59 county offices for the aging. 50 of them look just like this. Every population is going down except the older population. Now, if we believe that older people are a drain, it's doom and gloom, we look at it negatively, then those numbers scare the hell out of people. But 80% of older adults are healthy, active, and well, and we want to keep them that way. It's that 20% that Brenda and her team are working on that wind up utilizing the healthcare system the most. So I don't think it's a doom and gloom issue, because I don't think aging is a problem. I think the way we've organized our caring economy is the problem, which is we spend the most money on the most expensive settings at the expense of what we could be doing much, much cheaper. Oh, went the wrong way, apologize. So here's your home ownership rate. 78% of your older population own their own homes. 63% have no mortgage whatsoever. If you look at all the household generated in this community, 71% or 1.7 billion is from the 45 plus population. Social Security pumps $274 million into your economy every year. You have 5,000 volunteers providing 2.7 million hours of service at a value of 75 million. And you have 8,500 of your constituents that are caring for somebody else for free. They're paying out of their pocket. They may be providing transportation, hands-on personal care, things of that nature. And so we always try to talk about the value first and what has this gotten us at the state? It's gotten us an additional $313 million that I can then get to Brenda and to your county so that you can provide the services. And when I went through the services, there are hard services, the easy ones, right? A home delivered meal, that's tactile, you can see it. But there are a lot of services provided through Brenda's office that require people. The health insurance information counseling assistance program, case management in order to go in and do that assessment, a driver that can provide the transportation. So, we're trying to provide additional service dollars, but we also need the staffing to do that, which is why, your longstanding support since 1975 is when the Cayuga County Office for Aging started. It's so important. I'll go through this quickly. Again, you guys have the slides, but you want to look at who your constituents that are being served here and what their issues are. So personal care level 1 is the lowest level. Let's go to PC2. And these are individuals that are imminent risk of Medicaid spend down and nursing home placement. 94% of them can't shop by themselves, can't do housework, can't prepare their own meals, don't have transportation, can't self-administer the medications, can't do their own laundry, can't handle the personal finances. So if I can't get up in the morning, bathe, dress, shop, cook, pay my bills, I'm not staying at home. And our average client is an 83-year-old low-income female who lives alone, has 4 to 10 chronic conditions, has 3 activity of daily living limitations, that's what these are, and 6 IADLs, that's preparing your meals, shopping, paying your bills, cleaning your house. Somebody like that can't stay at home. Brenda can do it for under 10 grand a year at no cost to the family and no cost to the client. And I have this for each of the programs. I mean, we even have, our data is so great, we can even tell you, and I know you work at a federally qualified health center, how valuable would this data be if you had a client of Brenda's come in and you knew that the person had heart disease and arthritis and diabetes type 2, right? So that's what Becky and I are trying to do. We're working with hospitals and health systems to really create integrated care models where where Medicare Advantage plans and health systems will actually pay Brenda for these services. That takes pressure off of you, but it's the right thing to do. And that's where the federal government is going with care. So when you talk about the future of care, it's how you integrate clinical healthcare with social care, which is what we provide. So I'm not going to go through that, but you can take a look at it if you're interested. One of the final things, and I'm going to go through this really quickly and then I'll stop because I very much appreciate your time, is we are the only state in the country. We have 35 public-private partnerships with technology companies. We're serving 2 million more people at no cost to themselves. Some of the things are actually happening here in Cayuga. Some of them are not. Some of them are free for anybody. If you're over the age of 50, I'm going to show you the free things we have. If you're caring for somebody else, we have free things. But we're constantly trying to push the envelope because our funding is limited, our federal funding, our state funding, your funding is limited, of course, as well. So how do we do more with less? This is how we're doing it. And this is not designed to replace human beings or hands-on care or bodies, but older adults use tech at the same rate as everybody else. And if you can help improve their lives, their overall health and wellness, combat isolation and loneliness, combat frauds and scams. You guys have any idea how much scams cost, not older adults, cost consumers every year? Go ahead, take a guess. $119 billion a year. And a lot of that is focused on older adults. We're actually using technology to stop scams before they happen. So again, I'm not going to go through all of these, but I'm going to go through the free ones. So again, this is something you could post. If you have a newsletter or you're going back to your districts, et cetera. Anybody who's caring for somebody else. So it could be me caring for my 83-year-old father with dementia, which I do, or a long distance caregiver for my mother who's in Florida, who's 82, or anybody here in the community. We have 2 free things: a New York Caregiver Portal, which is an evidence-based caregiver education and training portal. When people use it, if you go on, the reason there's a blue link is it's a live link. So if you go into the PowerPoint and click it, you're going to go right to where this is. People that use it saw a 20% reduction in hospitalizations and a 16-month delay in nursing home placement by getting support, by getting resources that they may not know are available in this community and other communities, and by getting better education about their caregiving responsibilities. Archangels is a caregiver intensity index. takes less than 2 minutes, 24 questions about who you're caring for. And through that, it can tell you, green, I'm good. I'm doing pretty good. Yellow, there could be an issue. People who are in the 2% of them have a mental health issue, anxiety, depression because of their caregiving. And then red, they're in crisis. And again, it connects to the resources that we provide at the state, that Brenda provides. We also get data dumps through our system from the health department every quarter, from the Office of Mental Health every quarter, from Office of Substance Abuse every quarter, from the Office of Persons with Developmental Disabilities. So there's a whole litany of local resources that you can look up by zip code or by issue that's there. The other two, again, free for anybody in the state of New York over 50, is Get Set Up. We have over 700,000 people using it right now. It can teach you how to use your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, but you have access to more than 6,000 free online classes and courses, lifelong learning, et cetera, connection with other people. Top 10 classes the last 4 years that older adults are taking are all health and wellness, morning exercise, Tai Chi, hydration, nutrition, better sleep, anxiety reduction, meditation. It's fascinating, which says to me that older adults really take their own health seriously and are taking proactive steps to make themselves hopefully better. And then Virtual Senior Center is exactly what the name sounds. It takes the content that you would find in a senior center and brings it into people's homes. And so that is free for anybody else. But I am telling you, I'm going to go through, these are all the things that we have out in the field since 2018. And Becky and I are fortunate enough, we speak all over the country to startup companies, venture capitalists, other governments, other states on how we were able to do what we were able to do. You can look at these, and if there's any more information on any of these you want from me, deep dive data, we test them, we vet them, we measure them. None of these things will ask that we fund will ask anybody for personal information, health information, or credit cards. We will never do that ever, but I'm not going to go through all these. You can look at them. It's amazing. This is the future. How we can bring the two systems together, how we can integrate technology. But our number one issue is to get you guys the resources that you need. My entire budget is about $650 million. It is less than 0.8% of the state budget. Yet we're responsible for 36% of the population. And so that's what we're trying to do at the federal level. We have an election coming up that could change, hopefully, our federal funding in a positive. We've had the largest investment in my agency in New York State history, but we need a lot more. And then you guys do as well. And so the more revenue that I can bring in by law, it has to go to the 59 county offices for the aging. So that's what we're working on, a multi-tiered to get you guys the resources that you need to not only provide the service, but to provide the staffing that provides the service. So on that, I so appreciate the invitation to be here. I really do. Thank you guys for all the support with Brenda and her office. This is what the future is. When your folks here wind up spending down to Medicaid or leaving the county because you don't have nursing home beds left, you lose all of that economic activity. You lose the volunteerism. You lose the grandparents taking care of grandkids. All of that gets lost. And you can see how important your older population is to the economics of this county and this community. So thanks so much for having me. I appreciate you. Any members of the board have any questions for Mr. Olson? That's Mr. Olson's my father. I'm Greg.
I do. You spoke about 10,000 hours to keep them in their home.
Yep.
What does that incorporate? Like, what does that mean?
So Medicaid uses Licensed Home Care Services Agency, called LICSAs. Our network, a lot of them use the LICSAs also. And so the rates that we allow Brenda to negotiate would pay for a personal care aide to come into the home, depending on what the person needed. The beauty of our system is it's a non-medical system, even though we use the same infrastructure. So if you are on Medicaid, you have to have 3 limitations and activities of daily living. or 2 ADLs and Alzheimer's in order to provide the service that we provide with one. And so we don't need a physician's note. We are not Medicaid. We're funding it out of the funding that I get from the federal and state government, which means if you can get in earlier, people don't need as many hours or as much hands-on care, but they're also getting wraparound services. So they're getting a case management. They might be getting a home delivered meal. They might be getting transportation to a doctor's appointment. You're not getting those things when you're on Medicaid personal care. So there's so many other things that we're able to provide on that list of services if somebody needs it. So because we're able to do that and it's less intense, the cost is much cheaper.
Thank you. Thank you and Brenda for doing what you guys do.
And Becky too.
Becky.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. Great question.
Any other questions for Greg? Well, Greg, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm north of 50, by the way. I think you're the first person to call me old, so.
I'm with you. I'm 2 years away from accessing my own services.
With that said, we do have a second presentation tonight. This one's online. It's from Florida regarding economic development. I believe Carrie's here as well. If there's questions, so.
See, Jonathan, you got everything under control now? Any
Now
problems?
that you're here,
Guys?
I don't know if you do it. See you later.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Todd Poole. I'm Managing Principal and President of Forward Planning, and I am joined by two of my colleagues, Susan Kroll-Berrigan and Erin Camarena, and we are here tonight to do a small presentation regarding the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategic Plan, or CEDS plan, for Cayuga County. Next slide. So very quickly, here's what we're going to discuss tonight. Obviously, who we are, why this plan, why have you put out a RFP for it, how the plan gets built, what the county receives once it's completed, and then obviously we will be happy to answer any questions that you have. Next. So forward planning, we are land use economists, which is the fancy way of saying we perform economic and real estate analysis for public and private sector clients throughout the Northeast and Midwest. We've been in business now for 18 years. And importantly, we do a lot of work throughout the state of New York and continue to do so. The graphic on the right-hand side says 17 state-funded engagements. Actually, it's quite more than that. We work on a lot of LWRPs, or local waterfront revitalization plans, which we're currently doing. We're doing more DRI projects currently, New York Forward community projects. All of those are economic development related. We're also working on a number of brownfield projects currently in Clinton County, and also on an industrial park site location project in Montgomery County. So we're very well experienced in all things economic development, and certainly working throughout the state of New York. And all of our, the data and information that we produce is well documented. We don't operate in a black box. So what we produce for you can be vetted and sourced. Next. We found the RFP that you guys produced very interesting, and we knew right away that we wanted to work on it. We're excited to see the county recognizing that it has to get control over many different entities that are working in the field of economic development if it's going to move the needle. So we responded. We recognize that you need a new framework. We also are very cognizant of the fact that the CETA dissolved in 2024. And so that provides an opportunity to bring everybody around the table, kind of wrap arms around everybody, get them on the same page, understanding what the goals and objectives are. And ultimately, that's what this plan is going to be about. And, really coming out of this plan is identifying the actionable steps. We've worked with a lot of communities, some of whom have kind of put our plan on the shelf, not because of the way it was written, just because they haven't acted on it. We take pride in laying out concrete steps for our clients to take to kind of move the ball over the goal line, if you will. And we will do that for this assignment. And we will make sure that all the stakeholders, all of your partners are involved in ultimately being on board with our the goals and objectives of this strategic plan. Next. And kind of just building off of what I've just said about not seeing a plan go on the shelf. I mean, really, it's about implementation from day one. What we try to do as we are working through this process, and we have a 6-month process here, is to make sure that what we are identifying as actionable steps based on the data that we are identifying and analyzing, that you have the capacity, the skill sets to implement it. It doesn't make a lot of sense if we're identifying steps that you can't implement because you lack the capacity, whether that be human resource wise or financially. So we take that into consideration. Obviously, we're having a lot of conversations on a monthly basis, with your project committee and stakeholders. So we're going to have a good understanding of that and how best you can implement. We're also going to be doing some case study analysis to understand how other locations have done it, so that where we can apply that to your situation, we will. And secondly, getting stakeholder alignment. If we don't have everybody buying in, it's not likely to work. I can tell you we work on a lot of projects where that is, it's one of the themes we have to work through, having conversations, getting buy-in based on the data analysis and the findings, and getting people to basically rally around a particular strategic initiative, and that's what we're capable of doing. Next. As I mentioned, we have a 6-month program, 5 work areas, and you probably notice here on the screen, month 3 engagement and SWOT is purposely placed there because it's coming after the baseline and deep analysis. The baseline deep analysis is really where we are identifying what the opportunities and challenges are. We're obviously doing a lot of socioeconomic, real estate analysis, industry analysis. We have to have all of that kind of baked before we start engaging, and before certainly we're able to develop the SWOT. And for those who are not familiar with that acronym, it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So that kind of deep dive analysis takes place in the early months, such that we are in a position to really have meaningful dialogue with stakeholder groups, and certainly the focus groups and interviews. And my colleague will speak about that shortly. And then ultimately from there, month 3, we're emerging into month 4. We're actually starting to develop that strategy. And then finally, month 5, implementation and funding identification. How is this going to roll out? Where's the money for it? Obviously, we get asked that all the time. Where are we bringing in the funds to support this? And then ultimately, we get to the final month of refining everything and getting it adopted. Next. And so this is when we're building a strategic plan, it's got to be based on something, and it needs to be evidence-based. It needs to be sourced, and people, that might want to poke holes in it need to know, okay, well, where did this come from? Well, this is kind of a layout of what we're analyzing. And as I mentioned, everything gets sourced. So our demographics, socioeconomics, a lot of that's coming from census data and also proprietary data that we have access to. Workforce labor market analysis, a lot of that's being pulled from state data sources, industry clusters, similarly, and we also have access to proprietary data sets that we subscribe to. real estate market analysis. In addition to pulling data, we're also having conversations through interviews with real estate brokers and other knowledgeable professionals in the real estate industry. Zoning review, we're going to be pulling zoning ordinances throughout the county where they exist. And to the extent that we need to have conversations with local officials, we will do so. On the infrastructure readiness screen, and based on having to economize in the budget, we're going to be working with your county officials to help us out pulling that data together such that we can analyze it. Organizational capacity, do you have the human resources, to a certain extent the financial resources, to pull this off? Obviously, we're also going to be referencing the Camoin assessment that was developed back in 2024. And finally, the peer benchmarking, what we do, and we do this quite often actually, is we're going to look at you against your peer counties to the extent we identify them in central and western New York, to see how you measure up, and also to kind of look at maybe some things you can steal from those communities or those counties that are operating at a more efficient level or more successful level economic development wise. Next. Well, you didn't ask for this, and we like to add in analyses that we think would be beneficial. There are three things here that weren't asked for in your RFP. Fiscal impact analysis model or modeling, improvement to land value, and economic impact. The first fiscal impact analysis is our ability to look at 3 to 5 respective projects that could get developed, economic development, mixed use type projects that could get developed, and to understand or identify the local tax revenues relative to their public service costs. And why do we do this? Sometimes we will promote projects that may be questioned or even rejected by a local community because they're fearful of what the service costs might be, or how many school-age kids might come into the community, or the fact that it's not going to amount to much. Well, we want to demonstrate what the benefit is by performing a fiscal impact analysis. The improvement to land value, or as we refer to it as ILV, is a method that we use quite often in a lot of our redevelopment projects, where we look at parcels of property. And easiest way to explain this is, in a healthy market, the improved value is anywhere from 2 to 3 times the value of the land in which it sits. So think of a house. If you've got a property that's worth $300,000, the house is probably valued at 2, an assessment value, and the land is about $100,000. Where we see there's disinvestment or there's a redevelopment opportunity, that improved value comes close to a 1-to-1 relationship. So the land is worth $100,000, and maybe the improvement is worth that or possibly less. When we're performing this analysis, we are using GIS, or Geographic Information System technology, and the county assessor parcel data layers to analyze or to perform this analysis. And we're giving an example here on the right for Montgomery County, and in the red, or the red blotches or parcels there, it's showing you where we've identified high priority redevelopment areas based on this ratio. And finally, the economic impact analysis that we're offering up is to look at projects and select projects. We're not going to do this for everything, but to look at select projects to say, if this were to come to fruition, here are the economic impact ramifications in terms of jobs, earnings, economic output, direct, indirect, induced. And sometimes that's quite powerful. And quite honestly, that type of analysis can easily roll up into a grant application that could help fund a project to the extent that there's funding for it. Next. I mentioned hearing from the community. This is quite important, and I know you've obviously stressed this in your RFP. I'm going to actually ask my colleague Susan just to speak to this just a little bit about how we go about this and why this is important.
Sure. So, so this, as you know, this segment of a study lends a human or many human perspectives to the whole project. And that's why, you know, we know, and you know, it's very important. What we've proposed is a three-pronged approach, including stakeholder interviews with county partners and institutions, focus groups, and then an online survey. This portion of the process, even though it falls in the middle of the timeline, is definitely important to kick off really from right after the kickoff meeting, just because, as you know, reaching out to and connecting with the right people and organizing schedules takes some time. So, you know, with the county's help, identifying the people that we need to and should want to reach out to would be great. And so this portion happens in the middle with the interviews and the focus groups occurring first, but then also with the online survey being created. And the purpose of that is for, you know, to identify would-be entrepreneurs and just to gather their feedback. And having done, because the analysis takes place beforehand, we can use that as a just to inform ourselves in terms of our questions and the feedback that we're looking to gather. And of course, with the county's help, you know, your input and constructive criticism of how we've organized our questions and organized the survey will be greatly appreciated.
Thanks, Susan.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, obviously, the presentation to the legislature. We will be able to give you a full accounting of what took place, what transpired, what our recommendations are and why, and certainly be able to answer questions. Next. So you mentioned this is going to be evidence-based, so from analysis to strategy, you know, we're performing that SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threat analysis. You know, a target sector screen, what is that? It's looking at what, you know, what industry sectors should you be focused on, you know, the ones that are still going to be around, you know, even through the AI boom that we are now all experiencing. And also, you know, is importantly, you know, how does it align with quality of life goals? We recognize that is important from your RFP. So we will take a look at that. Vision goals, measurable objectives will be vetted with your steering committee. We recognize too that you want a 3 and a 5 year performance plan. So we'll talk about that in a second, a little bit more. Regional collaboration with your neighboring counties and economic development entities. And right now, the goals are organized in 7 focus areas. So the important ones, as pulled from your RFP: business attraction, retention, expansion, workforce development and talent, entrepreneurship and innovation, placemaking, housing, and quality of life. And by the way, we are familiar that you have a separate housing study going on, so we're very cognizant of that. Infrastructure, site readiness, regional coordination, and then policy regulatory enhancements. Next. Again, the 3 to 5 year action plan. The way this is set up is that you do want quick wins in that first year and a half that don't have to cost a lot. So we will try and identify those, you know, to be put in place quickly. The medium term is kind of like where the meat of this is. You know, that's within that 3 year period. The core strategic initiatives require coordination, sustained funding. You'll have time to, you know, go after that funding and put the necessary resources in place. And then long-term, 5 to 10 years, transformational investments. Quite honestly, you're going to have probably a lot of long-term projects or opportunities for the simple reason that, transformational change is a long-term type bet. And quite honestly, it can go well beyond 10 years, but that's what we will identify for you. Next. Tracking progress, you've asked for your RFP, KPIs, or key performance indicators. So we will provide that to you. We're very well adept at creating online dashboards that are live and can be tied to actual, data, that when that data changes, your dashboard will change. So we will work with you to identify those 8 to 12 key performance indicators. As I said, it will be live, and you can monitor how you're performing, against your indicators based on the changes happening, whether it's employment or new investment, so forth. Next. What the county receives, I'm not going to read through all of this, but basically it's kind of what I've just been talking about. You get a strategic plan that's evidence-based, well-sourced, identifying who does what, when, identification of financial resources where available. You will also be able to look at the draft strategic plan before it goes final. And then, of course, the live performance management dashboard will perform, as I mentioned, fiscal impact analyses, ILV or improvement to land value, ratio analyses. And then for Auburn, we're doing something separate. There's a retail gap analysis, what's corridors, exclusive of looking at those e-commerce type businesses, which really don't lend themselves to being analyzed for retail gap. And then ultimately an executive presentation deck and engagement archive. And I should say, working with your folks at the county, may recall we had a higher budget going in. We were asked to see if we can kind of sharpen our pencils, which we did, and we're certainly mindful of budget constraints with a lot of our clients. We were able to bring this all in at $65,000, which we hope that's amenable to the county. Next. With that, more than happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions for Mr. Poole from any members of the board? Any questions for Ms. Twillinger? Thank you very much. Todd, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. This time for questions. Any legislators and anyone present tonight for budget forum? Mr. Clay.
Who's at the floor for Janet Rior?
Janet Rior. Welcome. 3 minutes if you can.
Yes.
Thanks.
My name is Janet Rior. I live in the town of Scipio. And thank you for allowing me to speak to you tonight. Last September, a number of Cayuga County residents came to speak about their concerns regarding the ice raid, which took place in Cato at the Nutrition Bar Confections Factory, and the role of Cayuga County employees, namely the Sheriff's Department, played that day. This legislative body did eventually pass a, quote, resolution in opposition to excessive and unreasonable immigration enforcement activities, end quote. That was an effort by this body, though that resolution certainly was not satisfying to many of the several dozen of people who spoke on September 23rd, 2025 here at the legislative meeting. As of today, August 25th, 2026, the New York State law, Local Cops, Local Crimes Act became law. I am here to ask that the Cayuga County Legislature commit to insisting that our local law enforcement abides by all of the aspects of this new law. That means that there is no assistance whatsoever with any actions or requests from ICE or CBP, that is the Border Patrol. Both ICE and CBP are well-funded government agencies previous to 2026. But this year, because of additional monies from what was labeled by Congress, the one big beautiful bill, it was allotted $152 billion combined supplemental funds beyond annual allocations. These are our tax dollars. The figures are astounding. There has been a recent request from ICE for more money. Of course, this all adds a lot to our national debt of $40 trillion. I'm providing the figures not because you all can do anything about this, but we all need to understand the context in which our country is now operating. And we need to make sure not $1 of local funds are provided to these activities. We in Cayuga County have more recently seen 1 or 2 brown-skinned people grabbed up on the street every few days or weeks. A number of these grabs have happened just down the road from my house. These are our neighbors contributing to the local economy. These are often farm workers, though not always. The farms are a very significant part of the Cayuga County economy. Farms are dependent on these workers. That is, the farms cannot survive without these workers. We need to be sure that not $1 of local money, not 1 minute of local law enforcement time is given to the activities of ICE and CBP and Homeland Security within which ICE and CBP operate. Thank you.
Yes, I offer privilege of the floor to Kelly Doolittle.
Yes, my name is Kelly Doolittle, and I'd like to share some facts and some ideas for answers to the challenges we're facing with the current immigration policies. At the beginning of this year, the Poitner Institute's PolitiFact explained that its analysis of government data showed the majority of people who had been detained by ICE had not committed violent crimes, while immigrants, migrants, and other people, including American citizens, facing criminal charges and languaging in detention centers are being labeled as violent offenders by DHS. More often, those crimes were misdemeanors or civil offenses that they could be acquitted of, given our constitutionally decreed due process. Crimes like many average Americans commit, whether by accident or intention. Nobody wants violent crime in our streets, and we appreciate our local and state law enforcement officers who help to keep us safe while upholding our country's constitution. But at this point, many independent analyses have now concluded that only a tiny fraction of immigrants arrested by ICE have committed violent crimes. Despite these facts, DHS and ICE have turned American citizens into bounty hunters by offering tens of thousands of dollars to those who will hunt down brown people, giving license to presume guilt based on the color of their skin, rather than mandating a judicial warrant prior to search and seizure, thus enabling ICE agents to use discriminatory and race-based tactics to carry out the current immigration agenda while ignoring our Constitution. To put a price on this for us personally, the Economic Policy Institute has determined that taxpayers in Cayuga County are currently paying $1,182 per taxpayer on mass deportations. This country was built on hope and strength, yes, but also too often on racist ideologies. First, by the genocide of its indigenous people. Second, on the chattel enslavement of Black Africans. And third, by the hard labor of immigrants and migrants. Today, our neighbors, our farm workers, our construction workers, our friends, tens of thousands of whom ICE is currently holding in a manner that clearly goes against our Constitution. Let's not let democracy die on these foundations. Let us change the trajectory now. Here's how we do it. Due process. Love thy neighbor. Understand that our neighbors may live thousands of miles away in a country with its own troubles, and that we are all connected as humans on this planet. cherish the land, the water, the sky. This is what I'm asking my Cayuga County Legislature to ensure today, that our law enforcement officers uphold our Constitution and new state laws and help us all bring an end to the reign of terror on our brown brothers and sisters and those who care for them.
Mr. Charles Green?
My name's Charlie Green. I live in Ottawa. I have two topics. One, I'd like to request all local government agencies abide by the provisions of the local cops, local crimes act. There will be others speaking directly to that. Tonight I wanted to speak about the New York Protect Act. It's in the committee right now. It's been through once. It's going to go it again. And many of these provisions are in other parts of the country, other parts of the state are being passed as city and county law. Synopsis of the bill. It's going to be known as the New York Protect Act, and it's amending Section 27A of the tax law. Every organization designated by the US IRS as 501c3 shall automatically maintain their tax exempt status for New York State purposes until a determination by the commissioner. Within 90 days of the effective date of the New York Protect Act, the commissioner shall establish a procedure or application allowing an organization that believes that the US IRS illegally or improperly revoked its designation as a 501c3 to establish to the satisfaction of the commissioner of our state that the organization meets the requirement of 501c3 without regard to such revocation or federal status. The commissioner will then designate such organization as a state protected not-for-profit organization upon the satisfactory review of the commissioner. An organization whose request to be designated as a state protected not-for-profit organization, if it is denied by the commissioner, shall have the right to appeal the determination. The state protected not-for-profit organization shall maintain its tax exempt status under New York State and local law without regard to change in its federal status. The commissioner shall provide a determination to an organization satisfying its designation as a state protected not-for-profit organization within 30 days. The commissioner may revoke the certification and designation as suitable in the future. I'm asking that the county legislature consider the terms of this act and that you tell Senator Rachel May and Assemblyman Lamont that you are in favor of the New York Protect Act. Thank you.
Ann Ormsby.
Welcome. 3 minutes, right?
Yes.
I just thought. So, thank you, Mr. Shea, for allowing me this opportunity and the legislature as well. So, what I want to talk about is not my so-called retirement, I was going to be all nice and right off the sunset, but the fact that I've learned about since my retirement a few years ago, that our rights as citizens are away. And that's a big state. But it started out, as you all know, we have a wind farm that's being proposed on the west side of the lake. And New York State put in the middle of the night, special committee, if you will, called the Office of Renewable Energy, and ORAS is the acronym. And unfortunately, ORAS took away the rights of us as citizens in terms of industrial renewables, pardon me. So this wind farm that will most likely be placed on the west side of the lake, impacting people out of the network, the lake, environment, the roads, etc. The Department of Environmental Conservation has no rights EPA has no rights. We talked to all of them. We as citizens have stepped up. The towns have no rights. And it's railroaded through. So if you haven't heard about this, whereas pay attention in the polls this year. What I'm here to ask you tonight is that you put that on your agenda and then it was removed, is a road use agreement with this company, Liberty Renewables, this company that's putting up the wind farm. Liberty Renewables, the road use agreement is going to live beyond any of us in this room. These wind farms are 30 years, they fell down, something else is allowed. And we see it right now with Micron, we see all sorts of damage to the roads and to the community. So we really need to have a lot of transparency. We need to think hard, think smart. We need to get out in front of the public like me, the rest of us. Let us take a look at this agreement. Let us take the time to talk to our towns and really review it, understand the financials and the impact to the roads, where the equipment's going, what's going to happen. There will be changes, mark my words. There will be multiple changes of ownership. This is a slippery slope that happens with these industrial renewables. It's not me just waving my arms talking about it. It's reality. You can see it with other industrial renewables in the back. So please pay attention, get in front of the public, get to the Ways and Means Committee, get every lawyer who you can on it. Thank you.
I'd like to offer privilege of the floor to both Patty LeBlanc and Kate LeBlanc.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I want to talk about the hidden crisis in our backyard. As it's been referenced earlier, right now in Auburn and Cayuga County, our immigrant neighbors are quietly and swiftly being targeted, detained, and deported. I use the word immigrant to cover everyone: naturalized citizens, green card holders, temporary visa holders, refugees, and the undocumented, with a strong focus on the undocumented. I have spent time researching this and want to give you an update on what I have found. Most of the data comes from 2023 and 2024. There is a 5-year farm study that's put out. It won't be out again until 2029. We have at least 2,300 immigrants living in Cayuga County. Statewide, more than 50% are undocumented. These neighbors are not strangers. They are part of our economic and social fabric. Over 65% of undocumented workers have lived in the county for more than 10 years. 89% are of prime working age. What is the economic and agricultural backbone? Immigrant neighbors contribute heavily to our public funds. Collectively, immigrants in our county pay over $25.7 million in taxes annually, backed by $53.1 million in spending power. Across New York State, tax contributions from undocumented workers alone tops $3 billion each year, making New York third in the nation for this revenue source. Nowhere in this labor is more crucial than in our local agriculture. Cayuga County is New York's top agricultural producer. In 2024, total sales reached $356.7 million, led by $320.8 million in milk production alone. We are the premier dairy county in the state. Our immigrant neighbors keep these dairy farms running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, often working 50 or more hours in tough conditions. As noted in a Citizen article last month, our farms face death by 1,000 cuts. The article detailed how rising operational costs and slim profit margins are burdening Cayuga County farms. I found that between 2017 and 2024, we lost 400 farms. What happens if the remaining farms lose half their workforce overnight due to aggressive immigration raids? It would break families on a humanitarian level and devastate our local economy. Furthermore, mass deportations do not save money, according to the Economic Policy Institute, which was referred to earlier. Taxpayers in Cayuga County shoulder an annual cost of $1,180 per taxpayer. I would be remiss if I failed to mention that nationwide, 8.5 million US citizens live in mixed status households.
I yield my time.
Thank you. Sudden deportations tear these families apart and destabilize our communities. We must educate ourselves. I encourage you to invite a speaker from the Cornell Farm Worker Program to learn more about the reality of our agricultural labor force. We must advocate for practical paths to permanent legal status for long-term neighbors who support our economy and do no harm. As you know, Auburn and Cayuga County have a proud history of confronting hard truths. Anybody that's been in the Equal Rights Heritage Center can attest to that. You will see many of the local accomplishments. You may have heard of how our community stood up a century ago to keep the KKK out of Auburn, and how residents chased white supremacists out in 1993. I ask you, when immigration enforcement impacts our neighbors, we have to ask ourselves, what side of justice and humanity will we choose today? Thank you.
Any other legislators? Mr. Peck.
Ms. Dungy, please.
Hi, my name is Anita Dungy. I'm with the Alliance to Preserve the Finger Lakes. We're a nonprofit down in Scipio, Venice. I'd like to talk about the wind project and the road use agreement as Ann did. Tag on to that. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Regarding the road use agreement, our roads will no doubt take a beating during the next few years. I forgot my phone. Thank you. They'll no doubt take a lot of abuse. There's an estimated 30,000 vehicles, heavy equipment vehicles that will be traveling the roads. I think it's imperative that the legislature and the town boards as well take this very seriously. We're asking that you not rush into any agreement. A few things that we would like you to consider, among other things, total road failure and ditch and culvert repair and replacement bonding, developer funded independent engineers, ironclad corporate indemnification, disclosure of the roads that will be used for construction, maintenance, and decommissioning, which will be about 30 years from now, if they may or may not choose to rebuild at that point. So that's something to take very seriously. It's a long-term commitment. Work stoppage protection, strict enforcement of noise limits. So that's something that other towns have had to deal with, are nighttime noise limits in regards to the towers themselves, but also during construction. It's a project in Western New York that has asked for waiver of those nighttime noise limits. I don't know how that will turn out. I know they already have the blades on site. They've already built the tower, and the developer is now asking for the waiver of the limits. I hope they don't get it, because I think they're looking for about a 65 decibel waiver, which will be significant in a small rural community. And you know, because things can and do go wrong, and because this county had a 12% tax increase last year, I'm sure you can see where fiscal responsibility in this matter would be imperative. Talking with the highway superintendents, talking to citizens, full disclosure ahead of time. I think that was the issue this last week, is that we were surprised to hear from the papers that the road use agreement was even close to being considered. So if, you know, in the interest of the communities, all of the communities, including Auburn, because those trucks will be coming through Auburn. Thanks.
I have one name left on the list, Connie Walter. Connie Walter?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're okay. You're all right. Very good. Anybody else with privilege of the floor? Thank you. This time I'd like to do a motion for minutes to approve for July 28th, 2026 meeting.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Hi.
Any opposed? Communications and announcements. Committee reports, any legislator committee.
Chairman, I'd like to make an announcement. In partnering with Cayuga County IDA, we were able to secure some funds to hire an executive director part-time, and his name is Justin King, and he's here tonight. If you want to say hello to the folks, we're glad to have him on board and expect great things from him.
I'm glad to have Mr. King. You'd like to say a word?
Just a couple seconds. Yeah,
Sure.
say, pleasure to meet you all. I've been working in the energy space for the past 5 or so years, and I'm in law school now and doing a lot of research on energy affordability. And I'm really happy that HUSA has embraced me so thoughtfully and so earnestly, because I think energy affordability is an issue that's touches all of our homes and businesses. And so I really look forward to working with all of you to lower those bills and to spur economic development in the county. So great to meet all of you. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shea, for that introduction. So that's great. Anybody else? Mr. Strong.
Just a brief update. We are still ongoing interviews for the position of the 911 director. We conducted 2 interviews today. We have one more later this week. And then hopefully we'll either select a new director or we'll have another couple more interviews of the current. So it's ongoing. We're got some good candidates. Hopefully we'll be able to select one. So
Excellent. Thank you for the update. Anybody else? All right. Since our last meeting, I actually had the opportunity to attend the Cayuga County 4-H fair. I found it great to see our young people again for the second, actually, this last year. This is my second time attending. Thank Cornell Cooperative Extension, families, volunteers, everyone from 4-H. Just part of our community. If you haven't been there, it's really cool. They actually raise animals and then they put them up for auction, and sometimes these animals get sold more than once. So the program received money, kids received money. It's actually a good day, and it's nice to see the kids. I actually this year we got the show again, and I got to walk a cow, and it was about 2,500 or 3,000 pound cow, and it did not want to move. So it was a lot of fun. I missed the sheriff there this year. I had something else going on, but it was a good day. We also participated in the United Way Day of Caring alongside county employees from several departments. It's great to see employees from the Cayuga County government working together, giving their time to support our community. And I want to thank everybody from across the county who contributed and participated. So as we were out there gardening and weeding, and it was a good day. It's actually very fun. Good day. We also received news this week. Village of Reedport was they get their infrastructure grant for their water project. This is legislative board supported to help expand infrastructure and create opportunities for additional housing growth. And also our internal work on the 2027 budget continues. Formal budget meetings calendars went out this month with department heads, and they'll be meeting with us next month as we begin the budget process. We have another challenging year as far as the budget goes, so we'll be starting that process next month. Before the meeting started, I passed around a resolution to discuss later this evening. Just to give a quick update, the due diligence, the structural and environmental reviews are working their way through. There was a couple areas that we believe there may be some areas of concern. We did the scope of work. There are some areas that require some environmental testing with regard to street property, and the resolution tonight allows for that to take place as that purchase, but price figure was not in the original agreement from any of the folks that bid on that project. So that was what you had in front of earlier tonight. With that said, let's clear it down.
Okay. I believe, Ways and Means still has 4 resolutions, but I'm offering an amendment to Ways and Means 1. And Jenny had passed it out. In this resolution, this would be authorizing the purchase of tax foreclosed property owned by Cayuga County. And the reason for the amendment is 1 property was added. You'll see it highlighted here from Senate. And from what Jenny had said, that this Keith O'Brien submitted a request to repurchase the tax foreclosed parcel as a prior owner, along with the required funds. He made the request on July 28th, and that was prior to the August 3rd deadline. The request of funds were submitted to the treasurer's office rather than real property. So that was the reason that it was originally left out. And once they received this, she's offering up this amendment to add that property to this resolution.
Move WM1. Amended.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, and now we'd like to make a motion to amend. Town of Senate.
The property in Senate, so I guess I'm looking for a motion to approve the resolution as amended.
Motion to amend.
Motion to amend.
So the amendment would be adding Senate 102.00-1-1874864 North Street, $5,506.25, Keith R. Bryan.
Move to amend.
Second the amendment.
All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now we discuss about the amendment as amended, resolution as amended.
Move it.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion on the resolution as amended? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So
Okay, Ways and Means 2 is authorizing the purchase of a tax foreclosed property owned by Cayuga County. And I believe she separated out as this is a successor in interest, a property that fills in that category. And I'm asking for a motion for WM2.
Move it.
second,
Yeah, second.
any discussion on WM2? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ways and Means 3 is to authorize the settlement of a matter of Northwest Mobile Park Portfolio LLC versus the town of Moravia and the execution of the consent order. Jenny had spoke about this, and if this passes, there would be no refund. The county would not have to do any refund, but there would be a reduction in the assessment by about $241,000.
First and second. Yeah.
Move it.
First
Discussion.
wait for the second.
Second.
All right, Mr. Strong seconds it. Discussion. I'm actually voting no on this resolution. I know I sent an email to the legislature expressing concerns, but I'm not comfortable supporting it as presented this night. Any other discussion? Yes.
So the reduction is the $240,800
That is correct.
reduction in the assessment of the.
Assessed value.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Yeah.
One.
Passes.
It passes, yes.
Okay. WM4 is establishing, and we talked about this at the Ways meeting, establishing a high deductible health insurance plan for non-bargaining employees and requiring a high deductible health coverage for non-bargaining employees hired as new county employees beginning 1/1 of 27. And if you read through this would be for the non-bargaining group. This would be for all new employees. It would not have any changes to the current employees, although they could opt into this high deductible plan if they chose to, but they would not be required. And this is one of the plans that were developed through the consortium, is my understanding. And this is health insurance options to offer employees a way to reduce costs of coverage.
We got a first and a second for WM4.
Move it.
Yeah, second.
Question on that. I misspoke at the committee meeting. Current employees will be able to choose this plan. They would be able to go back and forth. If it's new employees that would have to choose one of these plans would not be eligible for the plan. So that's the way it stands. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't see the slide, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's why I say here. My only comment is I understand it's only for the non-union employees, non-bargaining, but we already have a problem hiring people. And this is just going to make it more difficult. I totally agree and understand health insurance costs keep going up and up. But we also have a problem hiring people too, so it's a double-edged sword.
Yes.
I agree with Legislator Vitale, but I have a question. So this new program here, all the new employees at this point not bargaining will get this program. They won't have the option to choose. Is that correct?
They'll get an option to choose either gold or bronze plan within
Yeah.
these plans. They're all different levels with different price points.
Yeah.
And they'll be supported with an HSA, which is health savings account, to be contributed, county to make that contribution.
But all new employees after January 27 have to get in a high deductible,
One of the
high deductible plan.
It's unfortunate.
This is similar to this is very similar to what we proposed.
No, I got it. It's just, just clarity and reality set it. That's all.
Any other comments? Without any other comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Chairman. There are 9 resolutions today. All of them have gone through committees. I'd like to bundle HH1 and HH2. They're both resolutions with the Health Department. HH1 is to enter into public health preparedness contract with HRI, working in collaboration with the New York State Department of Health, and accept funding for the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027.
Move it. Move them.
Second on the bundle.
Yeah, and then this HH2 is to participate in round 5 of the septic replacement grant.
I have a second.
I'll second
Second.
each 1 and 2.
Discussion on the bundle 1 and 2. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
HH3 is to establish a contract with independent psychologists to cover the court-ordered psychiatric evaluations with Cayuga County Mental Health.
I'll move that.
Yeah, second.
Discussion on 3. All in favor?
Aye. If I could bundle 4, 5, and 6, all with the Mental Health Center. 4 is to accept New York State Office of Mental Health funding to support the children's SPOA, Single Point of Access Program. 5 is to create and fill a coding and billing specialist position. And 6 is to sign an addendum to their contracts with the Qualifax system.
Yes.
Yeah, move to bundle 4, 5, and 6.
Second, discussion on bundle 4, 5, and 6. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And then I'd like to move to bundle HH7 and HH8 with Department of Social Services. HH7 is to amend social services budget to accept state funding for family-centered case management. And HHS is to accept 100% federal funding from the flexible fund for family services.
The bundle.
I'll second.
Any discussion on 7? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And HH9, also with DSS, authorizing the chair and the Commissioner of Social Services to enter into a contract with Community Action Programs, Cayuga Seneca CAP, to perform any outreach activities for the state mandated HEAP program, which is 100% federally funded for the period of September 1st, 2026 through April 30th, 27.
Thank you. Move it.
First,
Second.
second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Moore. Okay.
So I have one resolution, 01, authorize the Cayuga County Historian Office to accept American 250 fund and amend the 2026 county budget. Motion.
I'll second.
Discussion on GO1. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, planning board, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to offer my first 5 to Legislative Muldrow, so he doesn't feel lonely. Yeah, I'll see that. Not taken. Thank you. PPW 1 is authorizing the Employment Training Director to accept a donation of $2,500 from Nucor Steel to support attendance at the NITEP Workforce Conference. Move it.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I think it's nice to thank Newport for their contribution. Kelly King reached out to me, obviously their budget was cut to shop, there's out of state reduced funds there as well. And she looked into it and come to find out they can accept donations or assist me at times. He's happy to step up, and I just think businesses throughout the area helping me out. Thank you to them.
PPW 2 is authorizing the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature to sign a 3-year renewal agreement for professional services to provide environmental health and safety compliance support services.
Thank you. Move it.
First, second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
PPW 3 is authorizing the chair of the legislature and highway superintendent to enter an agreement with Barton and Judas for engineering services on the Turnpike Road Superstructure Replacement Project. Move it.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
PPW 4 is a resolution to authorize the license of A&M Catering to provide hospitality management of the Emerson Park Pavilion.
Move it. A second.
Discussion. This is a 2-year agreement, as you're aware, and we'll be going out to RFP this year for the 2022 award for the 2029 season. So this gives everybody time for transition if one is to get done. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
PPW 5 is authorizing the purchase of a Kubota RTV for trails.
Move it.
I guess second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. PPW 6 authorizing to enter into contract with ChargePoint Incorporated for monitoring, billing, and maintenance services for the vehicle charging station at the Sterling Nature Center.
Move it. No, sorry.
All right, we got a first, we have a second discussion on number 6. During committee, I did ask a little bit of questions from Doug. This is actually generating revenue for the county. The income that comes in is more than just having it. So. Want to wait for that. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, PPW 7 is authorizing amendment to resolution 204-26 for the environmental planning grant, EPG 2281.
You have a first and a second for each.
I'll do first or second. Who did anyone do first yet?
I'll do the other one.
You have first and second. First.
Okay.
All right, discussion on number 7. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. PPW 8, authorizing the Cayuga County Legislature and the Cayuga County Parks and Trails Department to accept MVRC grant AD 26 SPT-08 and establish capital H account for Doble Island Bridge.
Move it. I'll second.
This is the NBRC grant for $3 million, and there's a county match of $700,000. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
PPW 9 is awarding a contract for consultant services for the countywide economic development strategy.
I'll move that.
Just saying,
Thank you, second.
discussion.
I have a couple thoughts on this. So listening to the presentation now, I was not at JPS or PPW, so I don't know how far you guys discussed this. I didn't watch the video yet, so I apologize for that. You know, we received the Camoin report in 2024. And so we had a body of work that had been accomplished. At that point, also CETA dissolved, so it's been kind of crazy. And I understand that and I'm perfectly clear about it. And I'm perfectly clear with some sort of need here. I also, at the same time, I have a couple of questions. So my questions are around how do the partner agencies feel about the strategy? Our partner agencies being the IDAs, Water and Sewer Authority, CAPUSA. That also leads to my consistent questioning of board appointments. I feel as though we need to take some time to shore up these boards, to look for more diversity, and to have more representation across the county. Who will lead this work? What's the imagination of, you know, who's going to take on, who's going to become are we looking to establish a new CETA? And altogether, then it kind of accumulates to the point that I have a hard time supporting this when we could use a portion of this amount of money to shore up the planning and economic development department in the county. So, you know, the planning department is like the backbone of this work and sort of sewing together and knitting together all the partners along like an economic development strategy for the county that would come out of this body. So I just want to be forthright and let you know these are the questions that are looming in my mind. And I don't know you have answers for them or not. I just have some concerns about supporting this tonight.
This all came about last year when, you know, realizing that we need to have a centralized economic development that was working in silos and we're missing opportunities. And I reached out, had a conversation with Mr. Miller from the IDA, the mayor of Auburn, and determined that we're going to hold an economic roundtable. And this happened on more than one occasion. A group of us got together. Sorry, I have my glasses back. You know, the people at the table included the AIDA, CCIDA, SBDC, CCDC, along with, you know, Mr. Shea was at the beginning of the meetings representing both, who's had members of the CCSWA there as well. So I serve on the board there too, which, you know, you have your economic development partners and you have your support partners, right? Out of CAPUSA, CCWA's utilities who will support our economic development partners. The Camoin report was basically focused on CETA specifically, on how to fix and build up CETA. The scope of the RFP regarding this project here that we're discussing this evening came out of the roundtables, and actually all the economic partners at the table actually came up with the scope along with training, along with Perry in planning, and developed the scope of the RFP to work with them. And that's where it all came from. You know, I watched the presentation this evening, and this is why it's important to me. And I know we all know all this grading, that's fair, but I watched the presentations, you know, cost of and I watch the cost of doing services and goods, the cost of managing a county keep increasing. We can either, you know, kind of continue to raise taxes and distribute that cost on a smaller population, which continually raises costs for our citizens, and we can look at ways to grow our economy and look at the forward thinking thing down the road to say, how do we bring everybody together with common goals to grow our community, grow our economy, and actually recruit businesses and industries here. I think we have a great opportunity with Skyline next door, not in Dollar County, but I think you have potential here with our location to really make an impact and bring everything together. But that's, to answer your question, that's where the scope came from, was from our partners and our partner agencies. and this is what they requested. The original, as they alluded to in the presentation, we had the different bids that came in regarding the RFP. There was a scoring process. I was not involved in that. There was a scoring process that was used. And when I did the scoring process and reviewed the consultants' bids, I guess, and proposals, this one, everybody scored this one higher, and it really stood out. It was also a little pricey. So that's why he alluded to earlier about going back, and I requested that they go back and see if we can keep this within the budget, because we only designated $150,000 to work with. Remember, there was different milestones that we wanted to accomplish with those funds. And so I was very pleased that they came back, and brought this in for only $65,000. We actually budgeted 70 for it, and their original bid was closer to 80. So that was very good. And they actually kept the scope of work the same. So Carrie, did I miss anything? Do you have anything you want to add? Not to put you on the spot. Another question too, so.
No, that sounds pretty accurate. Yeah, the RFP laid out every potential stakeholder we could think of at the top of our head initially. Be part of this project in one form or another. And it did come from the various agencies wanting some guidance on how to restructure, whether that turns into a new one-stop or some kind of hybrid situation, TBD. By this planning process, we really wanted an independent third party to come in and say, what are you currently doing now? What are your agencies doing? How can you do things better? And what specifically now, since 2020 or 2011, rather, when the last strategic plan was done for economic development, what industries and sectors should you be looking at and targeting and trying to bring here beyond just what you're already thinking? And it provides, hopefully, when we're all done, a better coordinated system, and those 12 to 18 month quick wins and milestones get reset up. The idea was this would be the first step to recreating a coordinated economic development effort in the county, whatever that should look like.
And Carrie, on the presentation, the quick wins you spoke about, it's not unrealistic to think the recommendation is going to be at $800,000. I mean, it's going to be low cost and a starting point.
That's what we've tasked, and that's what we put in the RFP under the scope of work, is we want the low hanging fruit quick wins.
Yep.
As Todd has alluded to, the least expensive options to get something done that shows the progress that we can build on with those longer term initiatives that are going to take more money. But we've also asked for a funding package of how can this be a self-sustaining, self-funding system. So hopefully we'll get some information on that in their final report as well.
This would be sort of our roadmap.
That's what it's intended.
And without a roadmap, you can't really get anywhere.
Right, and as Bob Griffin said from the SBTC earlier this year, if you don't have a plan, then you don't know what you're doing.
And Carrie said something important I want to pick up on through our meetings is this isn't about Cayuga County funding long-term economic development. This is about coming up with a plan and having our partners contribute in this as well.
Yep.
They're stakeholders, and they shouldn't all be on this board and our budget to pay for this. This has to be done by our partners involved in this, and this is all part of that as well, having those conversations. So, and I think you're seeing some of those partnerships already as you're gonna, tonight with Mr. King and the IDA stepping up to pay that salary. You see how economic development can help fuel itself as well. So that's the hope here is Carrie alluded to.
Well, I appreciate this discussion. Carrie, thank you. As you can see, knitting it together again. And if I do support this, I do want to make it a point then to say we need to really take a close look at these board appointments. There should not be redundancy on any of these boards that are talking about our strategic plan for economic development. The more voices, the more representation, the better. And I also feel strongly that we kind of shot ourselves in the foot by eliminating positions in the planning department when we have lots of talent in the planning department, as evidenced by this evening. And we need to add to that talent to give them more support. So I appreciate the discussion a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Good discussion. Mr. Becky.
I don't want to be redundant here or anything, but I think this legislative board has avoided the question for quite a while. And I didn't hear it addressed really clearly in the presentation that we really need some kind of one organization, something to be a lead organization to lead the work that we're proposing that we're going to do. And don't get me wrong, the proposal that was talked about tonight is important work that has to get done and will be beneficial. But it's not beneficial unless we have some kind of organization to lead the work. And on another note, which has already been addressed here, is that it's ironic that we sit here and talk about economic development. And then when we do budget process, we cut the planning and economic development department. Very ironic. I don't know which side of the mouth we're talking about or talking through right now, but it's important work that has to get done. And we need some kind of leadership for it. Thank you.
What else? All right.
Yeah. I do believe it's just that redundancy, as my neighbor said, so. No,
I didn't hear you, Hans, I'm sorry.
I said it's redundancy. And I think we can spend our money better ways than that. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Without any further discussion, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
I was like, wait, no.
Mr. Shea.
Special reaction.
PPW 10, authorizing expenditure of funds for Cayuga County Capital H account 21-02 for park improvement.
I got a first and second for
Move it.
PPW 10.
Second.
Discussion on number 10.
I'd just like to commend our director of parks. This is a tremendous list of things to be willing to take on for and complete before the December 21st. So I think we need to remember as a board, we need to support him and his department in every way to make these things happen.
Anyone else? Without further discussion, all in favor of number 10?
Aye.
Opposed? PPW 11.
Last but not least, PPW 11 is amend resolution number 288-26 for grant authorization to amend the estimated expenditure municipal supplies agreement, New York State Department of Transportation.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Strong. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judicial and Public Safety has a total of 18 resolutions. I know. Start off with JB 1, authorization to create and fill 3 full-time, part-time emergency services dispatchers.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion.
It does seem weird, 3 full-time, part-time?
Yeah.
In the title, should that be ended?
They are part-time positions.
They are part-time.
Oh, they're full-time, part-time, okay. All right.
Full-time, part-time?
Just checking. Sounds
Just saying.
Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's gonna be a long meeting. JB 2, authorization to amend the 2026 budget. Interoperable Communications SICG 2024 grant funds.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
JB 3, authorization to fill the vacant part-time grant program coordinator help program in the district attorney's office.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
JB 4, authorizing the chair of the legislature to execute and approve grant award to the Cayuga County District Attorney's Office and authorization to create and fill 1 full-time victims witness program coordinator to the health program position in the district attorney's office.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chair, you didn't quite catch my
Oh,
hand for
sorry.
discussion.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to compliment our district attorney on, are we staying on track with these grants, reapplying, doing what it takes to keep these kinds of programs strong and valuable.
It's a compliment. So you know what to do with that.
JP5, authorizing the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature to execute and approve 2026-2027 statewide targeted reduction in inmate partner violence STRIVE grant award to the Cayuga County District Attorney's Office.
I'd like to move it, but I'd like to include number 6 for the give grant also.
Okay, I'll read, we'll make a bundle of JP5 and JP6. JP6 is authorizing the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature to execute and approve the 2026-2027 Gun Involved Violence Elimination Initiative Give Grant Award to the Cayuga County Office, District Attorney's Office.
I'll second the bundle.
Got a first, we have a second on the bundle. Any discussion on the bundle? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
JP7, authorizing the Emergency Services Director to fill one part-time deputy fire coordinator.
Move it. Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
JP8, authorizing the Emergency Services Director to fill one part-time fire investigator.
But,
Discussion. All in favor?
aye.
Opposed?
JP9, authorizing the chairman of the Cayuga County Legislature and the Cayuga County Emergency Services Director to accept the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services FY 2025-2026 hazardous material emergency preparedness grant to enhance the equipment and the technology of the Cayuga County hazardous material team.
Move it.
Second.
It's a long one, Mark. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
JP10, authorizing the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature and Cayuga County Probation Director to enter into an agreement with the Cayuga Counseling for the Alternative Sentencing Program for the term of July 1, 2026 through June 30, 2027.
Nightingale, move it.
Second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
JP11, authorizing the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature and Cayuga County Probation Director to enter into an agreement with the Cayuga Counseling to provide pretrial release services for the term of January 1, 2026 through June 30, 2027.
Move that.
Nightingale, second.
Second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
JP12, authorizing the sheriff to fill 3 vacant deputy sheriff custody positions in the Cayuga County Sheriff's Office.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
JP13, authorizing the sheriff to fill 2 vacant deputy sheriff police positions in the Cayuga County Sheriff's Office.
Move it.
Go first and second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
JP14, authorizing mental health providers with Cayuga County Mental Health to access and utilize the Medident electronic medical record system at the Cayuga County Jail to record and maintain treatment records for the incarcerated population.
All right, we go first.
Nightingale, second.
Second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
JP15, authorizing the transfer of money within the Cayuga County Sheriff's budget to pay for housing of female incarcerated individuals at other jails.
Move it.
Nightingale, second.
Yeah, first we have second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
JP16, authorizing the creation of a temporary leave bank for the Cayuga County Probation Department employee.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
JP17, authorizing the sheriff to transfer monies from the sheriff's 2026 jail budget health insurance line to the sheriff's 2026 jail budget line, salaries, overtime line.
I'll move that.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Finally, JP 18, authorizing the sheriff to fill one vacant physical officer help program position in the Cayuga County Sheriff's Office.
Second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Strong. Ledge one's been pulled this evening. That matter has been settled. We'll move on to ledge two. Setting the salary for Kathleen Cuddy as director of the Cayuga County Development. The first and second.
I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion?
Over here.
Yes, Mr. Bailey.
I'd like to offer amendment on the second resolve, as we discussed it, HHS, these numbers are not what was discussed there. So I would, my amendment would be add $5,000 to the salaries from 827 through 832. That'd be $5,000 increase to each one of those numbers.
So you're starting at 820, the very stop line, 826 through 820, 25, 27, and downward at $5,000 every number.
Correct.
We have a motion for an amendment.
Second.
A second.
Amendment.
Any discussion on the amendment?
Just have a process question.
Okay.
If that resolution fails, do we go back to the original one?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
If I just could, I have been, since I've been on the legislature since 2016, I feel as though this particular appointment has always been sort of met with politely, I don't know how to politely put it, but undercutting, I guess, or sort of, yeah, resistance is a good word. And I feel as though this position involves an extreme amount of supervision and professional, I guess, professionalism, I guess, being that they're a public health director and they're not just a department head. So it's because I've seen this happen since I've been on the ledge that I definitely will support this amendment.
I also like to just thank Kathleen for her continued dedication to her work. She has over a decade of institutional knowledge as a very dynamic leader of what I understand now is a full service county health department, which is not the case in every county. And I've had a chance to see her in action. She's a very competent leader and incredibly responsive. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'll add one more comment. The main reason why I'm doing this is also the seniority and the experience. You can't replace it. And, what I've seen actually in, my own experience that to replace somebody that's been, on a job doing the work for a decade or more, you'll hire another person at more money and have less competence for a while. It takes time to learn a job such as health director. Thank you.
Anybody? Mr. Strong.
I guess my comment is concerning that this is a non-bargaining position. I believe that, we took the position of trying to get everybody to the 85% of the areas around us that hold the similar type positions. We did that, and also there was a 2 to 3%, or 2.5 to 3% increase in their pay, and I believe that the amounts that have been brought forward to this amendment is way beyond the 2 to 3% or the 85% that was agreed upon with non-bargaining unit.
Yeah, let me add the 120 number actually. Diane Ferris with HR revisited the numbers. Additionally, the director of social services has had a higher salary across Cayuga County than the health director. They both have about the same time on the job. I think this Bianco's like retired at the end of the year. So there's experience there as well, and this 120 number puts them pretty much equal as far as the go. Any other comments?
I guess I understand that Kathleen initially wanted the 125,000 herself. She talked to us all and gave us that piece of paper. The original HR recommendation was 117,000. Then we met with Diane. We talked to her about the information that Kathleen had given. We asked for a reconsideration to get her to up to 100% of the midpoint average, which is what the same criteria that was into place for the rest of the non-bargaining group. And she felt that 120 actually accomplished that. There were people in the non-bargaining group who didn't always love exactly what they got, but I think the 120 is fair. I think it's in line with the HR recommendation that we made. And, you know, it does reflect at least an $11,000 increase from her current salary. So as much as I value her work, I think this was a fair and reasonable resolution to bring forward.
Mr. Strong.
I'd also think, like to state that I think this legislative body is setting a dangerous precedent and awarding non-bargaining individual 100% of salary increase as far as bringing them to, instead of 85% to 100%, that leaves room for everybody else that's in that non-bargaining group to ask for the 100% increase to the so the 85% they want, they would be asking for the 100%. I think we're setting a dangerous precedent, and for that reason, I will not support the amendment.
I just want to clarify that the 100% means 100% of the midpoint. Correct. Midpoint
Anybody?
in that study.
I just wanted to reiterate the point that Ben made, is that if we were to go out and hire for this position, we'd be far above $120,000. Regardless of any study, whatever goes on. And I also, as it was pointed out by somebody, this is someone who has already been with the county for so many years, with a level of knowledge and experience and expertise that we can count on should we encounter another public health crisis. I'm confident that she would lead us through. And obviously we have measles in our community or in the neighboring communities. Hearing that alone just totally made me think of this particular appointment and made me relook at the salaries and kind of help me in supporting Ben's amendment this evening.
Mr. Shea.
Yeah, I'll wait a little bit. The problem with the methodology that we're coming across here is that we have many employees that have been here a long time and do a fantastic job. I, for one, will acknowledge that Kathleen is an exemplary employee and has done a great job at the health department. 110% confidence in her. But I mean, is that a disservice to those others who spend a lot of their time doing the same thing, going to work and doing a great job for us? And again, on the other hand of that, the fiscal responsibility that we have is something that we have to consider. I don't see anybody not get a nice big increase, but you know, we have to be prudent a little bit. So thank you for the job you do. I've always supported you, as you may or may not know. But again, you know, we're in tough times here and I want us to be cognizant of that. And that's all.
Anybody else?
I think it's also important to consider that she had shared with us
if she had gotten a steady increase the whole time she was here, this is where she would be, but that didn't happen. So it's not a huge leap to get to where we are. This is kind of bringing her up to where she should be.
Anybody else? All right, no other comment. We're gonna roll call vote on the amended resolution. So we're voting on the resolution. We're not voting on the resolution. We're voting on the amendment to the resolution. Thank you, yes.
Confusing, huh?
Get a little ahead of my words.
So the roll calls for the,
Roll call vote is
It's just for the amendment.
Just for the amendment. To make the amendment change. And then we'll go back to whichever one.
Ben Vitale,
Yes.
Tom Winslow,
No.
Robert Shea,
no,
Aileen McNabb Coleman,
Yes.
Hans Fetcher,
No.
Mark Strong,
No.
Heidi Nightingale,
Yes.
Elaine Daly,
No.
Amy Sargent,
We spent a great deal of time figuring out the 120 and the equitable, so I'm going to say no and stick with that.
Brian Muldrow,
I'm gonna stick with the original, so no.
Jonathan Anna. It's defeated.
Now we have the resolution as presented. Any further discussion of that? Then we have a first and second.
Yeah.
Without any further, let's do a roll call vote on that.
Okay. Ben Vitale,
No.
Tom Winslow,
No.
Robert Shea,
No,
Aileen McNabb Coleman,
What are we voting on?
The resolution that's in front of us.
The original.
The original resolution.
Original resolution.
I would like our public health director to be paid. So yes.
Hans Fetcher,
No.
Mark Strong,
No.
Heidi Nightingale,
Yes.
Elaine Daly,
Yes.
Amy Sargent,
Yes.
Brian Muldrow,
Yes.
Jonathan Anna,
Yes.
passed.
Pledge 3, authorizing appointments to various board vacancies. First and second.
Nightingale, move it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Pledge 3, authorizing,
Support.
pledge 4. Local law number 2, appointing Justin King as executive director of Cayuga.
Move it.
Nightingale, second.
Discussion? Do we have that?
I didn't see the actual contract in our resolution. But I'm going to assume it's probably for 1 year. I don't know if I'm assuming correctly or not.
But Ben, it's a service agreement between IDA
Service agreement.
and Capusa. And the reason we're only doing this is, I guess, it's part of the local law when Capusa was established that we have to approve the recommendation for a hire.
Yeah, it's not our hire.
Right.
No, I understand that 100%. I'm just saying that there is a contract, there is an agreement, and I'm thinking that it's for a year.
I think that's correct.
Term of the agreement will be commenced on September 1st and extend upon mutual consent, terminate or expire on September 1st, 2027, and may be extended by the agency.
Thank you. So my question is, what objectives are there in that year? I'll be blunt. Capusa hasn't done anything in many, many years. And we keep giving them money. I understand we're not giving them money for this. But it would be nice to hear what the objectives would be for that year.
I've spoken to Mr. King. One of his first objectives, Mr. King, do you want to speak to that? I mean, you're right here. We could.
Yeah, I
outline what you explained.
I'm fine from hearing.
Right.
Sure, I don't care.
I'm happy to. So when I first reached out to Heidi Nightingale with some policy proposals, the idea was that my law school would be providing pro bono legal and policy support. So Harvard Environmental Law Clinic is fully on board with that. And so with the clinic, we've talked about starting first with drafting rules and regulations for CUSA. I think that's a great place to start on getting some policy implementation. But also developing a program, virtual power plant program. So you may or may not be familiar with virtual power plants. They're a very hot button issue in the energy space. Just last week, New York State has established their own virtual power plant program, the Excelsior Power Program. I would like to extend the state virtual power plant program to cover more resources in our community, generate more of our energy in our community, and lower energy bills that way. And so one of the goals that I have is to have discussions with virtual power plant contractors. The state's going to be using Energy Hub. There are several other viable candidates. I want to discuss with them what sort of incentive structures they're using in other states. Virtual power plants are ubiquitous in California and several other states that are a little bit more developed in their energy system than we are. And I would love to get CUSA to that place. So we'll be developing a white paper with the clinic, exploring the virtual power plant program, the rules and regulations, and then any support or input that the CUSA board or the CCIDA wants us to explore beyond that. I'm happy to discuss.
Mr. King, can you talk about getting them on board, legal, Paris reporting and reports?
Yeah, of course. So, and according to CUSA's bylaws, they're also supposed to be submitting annual financial reports and minutes for their meetings. And so that one of our first priorities also is to make sure that CUSA is abiding by its bylaws and on solid legal footing before we move forward with any expenditures.
I think that's the most important part. Thank you.
Anybody else? No other comments?
Yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to bring ledge one back on the table.
Table June table.
626 ledge one.
626 ledge one's off the table. That is authorizing the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature to execute a professional service agreement for academic partners for organizational assessment, advisory services, search preparation, and executive recruitment services related to county organization. I got a motion, got a second.
Yeah, second.
Second.
Sorry, what are we doing?
We're bringing 626 ledge one off the table.
The table one.
Oh, gotcha. I'm sorry.
The council.
There's three
for Ian
phases
Quick.
of it on this. Is there any discussion? Anybody would like to make them?
Yeah, I just want to do phase one.
All right, so Mr. Muldrow is proposing an amendment that we at this time put a pause to phase two and phase three and only proceed this evening to phase one. Phase one is the proposed engagement, consists of organizational assessment, advisory services, search, preparation at a cost of $10,000 per month for approximately 3 months. It includes management consulting, leadership training, organizational assessment, policy and procedure, meeting and training with legislators and department heads, written recommendations for assessment, and periodic reports to the legislature regarding planning activities and recommendations. And this is evaluation of the legislature to determine the next.
You know, this phase one is important for us to, there's been a lot of discussion. Should we have a type of government we should have, county government we should have? Also, we had a lot of discussion about should we even have one? By eliminating the other phases and just having this phase us focus on, we'll have true independent evaluation of what we should have and what's the best way moving forward. And I think that this will end this discussion one way or another. If we're gonna get an elected official, if we're gonna have an appointed official, if we're not gonna have one at all. So I'm in support of this.
So there's really three pieces of this. This is just the phase one. And that's to look at our organizational management structure and identify areas that can be improved. Help us determine what Cayuga County should expect for its next administrator or county government. And provide professional guidance as we move through that transition improvement process or potential improvement. So that's what we determine the next one. Any other comments?
I'll second the amendment.
Ask if we had a second.
Mr. Patrick.
I think we ought to move towards forming a charter commission and start working towards an elected county official, executive, I should say. And the sooner we do this, the better, rather than another money spent for nothing again.
You know, Hans, it could be up to a 3-year process. When I first ran for office, I was open about my belief, and Mr. Hardy asked me the question, you remember, because I came up with a form of government we should choose. And I sat there, I remember, you know, supporting and saying I would consider towards the executive order. When I became chairman, I continued to support examining that option through the charter process. I still believe there are counties where the county executive model works very well, and there may come a time when it's the right model for Cayuga County. But my responsibility now, and I look at the county now as chairman, is not to hold on to a position simply because I previously supported it, but rather to evaluate the circumstances in front of us and learn from those experiences and serving role and make decisions that we can use best for Cayuga County today. I've been on this road now, I'm serving as chairman. I've come to believe that pursuing a county executive at this particular moment is not the best course for Cayuga County. That's my personal opinion. We have immediate challenges that cannot wait several years for restructuring the county government. We are facing significant budget pressures. The cost of providing county government continues to increase while the resources available to us are limited. We need to examine how departments operate, how services are delivered, and where efficiencies can be achieved, and how we can control those costs without sacrificing the essential services our residents depend upon. And I believe that requires experienced professional management. It's also to understand that our changing form of government is not something that happens overnight. Moving towards a county executive would begin with establishing a charter commission, as Hans alluded to, and conducting a comprehensive review of county government, which the government actually proposes as well. Any proposed charter change would then have to go through the required public process, ultimately voter approval through a referendum, and then placed on the ballot. Realistic, that process could take some time. Like I said, it could take up to 3 years, right? So I think hiring Mr. Coyle is a great step for the government, for our county. You know, not to even address the fact that county executive is a whole other layer of government and a whole nother payroll. You bring in a county executive, potentially a deputy county executive who serves as administrator. He has to have his own private secretary, his own legal representation, since Mr. Westfall and his office work for the legislature. And sometimes, you know, the two sides might go to war. So you are creating another layer of government that I actually right now, I just don't think Cayuga County can absorb those costs either as we look at, you know, another potentially, I don't want to say, we accepted the hundreds of thousands of additional payroll at this time. Yes, go ahead, anybody.
Look, I think the other thing is that we're pretty much, this body's deadlocked down different variations of what we should do or do something at all. And to now have the evaluate this situation with this company, we can really be open-minded to have an outside opinion and really try to, you know, maybe you're right. You know, you could very well be right, but this is why we're doing this. And I think it's a good move right now.
And just for point of clarification, your amendment is to move
Simply the phase one.
the phase one, which is the meetings and okay. Phase one again?
Phase one, proposed engagement consists of organizational assessment, advisory services, search preparation, management consulting, leadership training, organizational assessment, policy, meetings, training with the legislature and department heads, written recommendations and assessments, and periodic reports to the legislature regarding housing activities and recommendations.
Can I just expand on that? You would be also removing the 6th and 7th whereas clauses because those relate to phases 2 and 3. The first resolve would change from 52,000 to 30,000 and flip the resolution over. The increase and decrease would change from 60,000 to 30,000, just to be consistent all the way through. And that's just on the amendment.
Thank you.
Excuse me, can I?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I was going to say if we could think about this other amendment, instead of saying in the title, at the very end, executive recruitment services related to a county administrator position, maybe we say related to county administration or county or some such. To say that we are not looking for one position. What we're doing is we're trying to sort out what it is that we need in this county and back it up with some data points.
Do I understand you saying remove the word position Administrator to administration,
Administration.
and delete.
Position.
So Mr. Muldrow, are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
And
Actually, I prefer, that was a great idea.
Heidi, you had made the second. Are you okay with that as well?
Absolutely.
Just to be, okay.
And also the changes to the dollar.
Okay.
All right, Mr.
Mr. Strange.
I guess my concerns are, my issues are, I agree with Mr. Petcher. I think this should be an elected position by the people of this county. So if we, and I'm understanding that we're just hiring a firm to, look at the best way to accomplish this process. But given the fact that I believe this is going to lead to another appointment of the position, and with our past history of this particular position, I believe it becomes extremely a very political position, and therefore I would not support this. I believe it has to be, this position needs to be voted on by the people of this county. Understand that it requires a considerable amount of time to get to that process, multiple years. I understand that, but I'm not so sure that this is money wisely spent.
Anyway, Mr.
I'd like to call the question on the amendment.
Wait a minute. We have a question being called on the amendment.
But I do think that, that's why illegal, I really want to talk this through.
Mr. Muldrow, discussion is closed.
So the problem is, the question is.
So we call the question and ends everything.
That ends the discussion, yeah.
The amendment.
Don't have nothing.
The
We're
amendment.
just voting on the amendment.
Just voting on the amendment.
All in favor of the
We
amendment?
can't discuss.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the amendment?
Aye.
Passes. Can I get a first and a second so the resolution is amended?
Move it.
I'll second.
Now for discussion on the amendment as amended.
Okay.
Talk again.
I'm
I'm trying to understand what's
All
happening.
right, so, I'm gonna take the advice of, the report when it comes back and thoroughly ask questions and all that, but I'm dead set against an appointed official. I'm not appointed official.
Elected.
Official. Reason being, it's a popularity contest. I am capable of managing certain types of budgets and certain departments. And I very well could run and win. It's possible. And I don't have the capability. I shouldn't be in that position. Anybody that's super popular could win. The other issue that I think there can be criteria that we can't just appoint a person randomly. There's going to be certain qualifications. This person might have certain experience, certain education levels that's going to make the person more qualified than an elected official. So I am dead set against elected official, and but I could be very well convinced by this process, but it's going to take some convincing.
The county administrator model itself is not attested, right? It's their state, it's been successful. I see the counties have very good success with this position. Portland County just hired an administrator, they actually hired Mr. Boyle to do everything that they've been very pleased. I reached out to Kevin Finch, the chairman there, and we have conversations about this and that's getting the results and go through the budget process this year. They're excited to see out the nuances. He's already discovered great ways of efficiency that their legislative board is even aware to do. So having that manager has actually been beneficial for them. And, I'll say it, on my honest opinion right now is Cayuga County needs a professional manager, not another politician. And that's why I support this and moving forward right now with the administrator. And for me, that doesn't mean that permanently closes the door on a county executive. The conversations we should continue to have and evaluate. And I hope we have those conversations with them as well moving forward. So for me, it really comes down to timing and needs.
The more we continue to talk about this, the more I'm thinking we're wasting $30,000 because people already have their minds made.
That's what I was just about to say. That.
What are we doing this for?
Talking me out of my vote.
I mean, right out of it.
Well, I think that it's healthy discussion. I think that there's been a past of, that people are holding on to, but I think that this is the best 30,000 spent. We've done studies before and I don't even know where they stand, but this is the best 30 because it's going to be discussed well after the report's done. So I'm done talking.
Yeah, I
There you go.
I was trying to understand what most of the other counties in New York State do, and I don't know, Fred, if you know that, would that local law where all the elections run at the same time, would this position run at the same, would that be included in the local law election?
We don't know yet.
It's not an elected position.
If it was, I'm asking.
If it was.
I think that's dangerous to have zero continuity when we're very reactive.
So I'm going to hesitate because it may take, so the election that you're talking about starts in 26, there's another
Right.
round in 27.
Yes.
This in probably good conscience wouldn't be done until maybe a referendum in 28.
But then it would be on the even laws.
But then you'd be
Yeah.
well within what you're talking about. So I'm going to hesitate and say you'd probably be kept.
But to everybody's point, we are kind of in a decision gridlock, so it seems doing nothing is irresponsible. So if we were to get a very educated assessment and recommendation, then we can at least use that information to make a decision. Because we all don't know what we don't know, and this is someone very skilled in this area, and it could hopefully get us unstuck.
Japan.
I'd like to remind people of a couple of things that happened in our past. One of them was a referendum for having an appointed county manager. And it went down in flames, if I remember correctly. I can't tell you the year anymore, but it was quite a while ago. And yet the legislature later on appointed, county manager or whatever the title was. So, for once we ought to maybe follow and give the people a chance to select somebody and see how that works. It might be experimental, but the manager system hasn't worked for Auburn at all. Auburn just had a 27% increase in taxes with a wonderful county manager. That person should have been fired.
It was 8. I'm pretty sure it was 8%.
But
It was 8%.
Evaluate both opportunities.
I thought it was 8%, not 27 or 28.
that's what was.
They gave scenarios that,
All right, any other discussion? All right. Let's just go and do the roll call.
Ben Vitale.
No.
Tom Winslow,
No.
Robert Shea,
No.
Aileen McNabb Coleman,
We're voting on the amendment, the amended resolution.
the amended resolution.
Yes, the first part.
Tom Spencer,
No.
Mark Strong,
No.
Heidi Nightingale,
Yes.
Elaine Daly,
yes.
Amy Sargent,
Yes.
Brian Muldrow,
Yes.
Jonathan Ant. Passed.
We have one more tonight, a walk-on resolution I showed you earlier this evening. It's authorizing an amendment to contract one RV group and then a subcontract agreement with engineering and surveying. Renovation measures and field inspection services. The 1/6 budget, this is in regards to the original contract and still due diligence. Although referred to it, we have a budget for testing materials, and there are a few areas that we use for at this time. So just- First. Second, any discussion?
I'm supporting this because I think it's important for us to move on this matter expediently. We have some great opportunities. We have some answers that need to come to us, so.
This is part of this process, we kind of anticipate this would happen. Any other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, can I get a motion and a second to adjourn?
Move it.
Second.
Mr. Winslow, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Wow.